The franchise was still riding strong after the release of the movie and on into 2004. Many tie-in products were available, such as toothbrushes, coloring and activity books, jigsaw puzzles, storybooks, some with moving elements and hidden images. Then there was the Viewmaster reels based on the episode Trapped Beneath the Sea, which came in several sets. Also inflatable command centers, a bicycle helmets, gloves, pads, light-up attachments, and other accessories, sneakers, t-shirts and other clothing. Yes, even little underwear, pajamas, towels, backpacks, Mission Select walkie-talkies, party favors, Little Billy Blazes figures with parachutes, little figures of Billy, Wendy, Jake, and Sam that came with a board game, and little die-cast metal vehicles from Matchbox. There were quite a few life-size tools, data packs, and fire extinguishers, as well as Halloween costumes. There were even rescue heroes made only for other countries, such as United Kingdom's Police Constable Ivor Clue and Germany's Willy Wattmeister, whatever those names mean. If you have a sweet tooth, and most kids do, there were the Rescue Heroes fruit snacks. Even after the fall from popularity, they still made them, and you could find them on some store shelves. 2 mail-order DVDs were available that had the pilot episode Lava Alarm, as well as the episodes of the first season. Later, in 2003, most episodes of the second season were made available on 2 more DVDs. In 2004, some of the episodes from the third season were made available as free DVDs that you get when you purchase a toy. Because of the Rescue Heroes were still on the tail end of their popularity, I personally was expecting a 4th season. This seemed to be confirmed when TV Guide announced that a new series called Rescue Heroes was coming to Cartoon Network. But when the due date came, it was only reruns of the original CBS series. And after those episodes had played, the WB series did. Remember before when I mentioned a lost episode from the second season? This episode was called Terror in the Tower, and it was about people trapped in a pair of twin skyscrapers that were on fire. This episode was made before the September 11th attacks, but Fisher-Price thought that the similarities were too close for comfort. Therefore, the episode wasn't included with the second season DVDs. But Cartoon Network did air a rerun of it, except the title was changed from Terror in the Tower to High Anxiety. The last 2 heroes to be added to the Power Max team were Hal E. Copter with a chopper backpack and Ben Choppin with a chainsaw. New teams of figures released this year were the Optic Force with Maureen Biologist, Rock Miner, Matt Medic, Jake Justice, and a new hero that holds a movie camera and a microphone, Telephoto. Then there was the dual tool team with Billy Blazes, Rocky Canyon, Gil Gripper, Roger Houston, Rip Rockefeller, and Willie Stop. After that was a new edition of the Robo Team with flashing lights and sounds. There was the 3 previous members, Clampdown, Backdraft, and Backhoe, as well as a new space robot, Astrobot. Then there was a new edition of the Wildlife Team, each hero with an animal partner, Pat Pending with Specs the robotic owl, Sandy Beach with Tides the sea turtle, Brandon Irons with Coil the snake, and Bobsled with Tundra the penguin. As well as 3 new humans, Mozambique and Spotter the leopard, Thurston No More and Rolls the armadillo, and Martial Arts and Aikido the panda bear. Also that year was a new animal, Jabs the kangaroo, a new version of Buster that shoots handcuffs, a bobsled driving Alpine with 2 new husky dogs, Winter and Snow, a new hero with a swamp skimmer boat, Reed Marsh, the jet cart which transforms from a go-kart to a flying vehicle, the Extreme Tow Truck, a small version of the bipod jet which was used in the movie, the Triclone Responder, a remote-controlled transforming 3-wheeler, and a miniature UFV Ultimate Fire Vehicle that when rolled along showed animated videos with sound on the small screen on top. Roger Houston was added to the 10-inch tall Special Edition Rescue Heroes. A new team called Get to Know Me featured basic editions of Billy Blazes, Jack Hammer, Gil Gripper, Jake Justice, Wendy Waters, and Roger Houston, along with a video cassette of an episode that they were in. After that came the limited edition collector's series with basic editions of Billy Blazes, Jack Hammer, Wendy Waters, Sergeant Siren, Captain Cuffs, Sam Sparks, Alpine, and Ben Chopin, each coming in a stackable display case with a card on the back. Later that year came the Vehicle Response Squad, with each hero having a personal mode of transportation. On the team was Perry Shute with a parasail, Bob Bowie with a wave rescue craft, Kenny Ride with a bicycle, Seymour Wilde with a kayak, and Warren Waters with a moon rover, the first Warren Waters figure since his Voice Tech premiere in 2002. Then came the inflatable team with Aerial Flyer and a hang glider, Sam Sparks and an airbag, and 2 new heroes, Red Wood and a tent, and Typhoon and a riverboat. There was a preview for the next big Voice Tech team, Robots, following in the footsteps of last year's big voice tech team, Mission Select. Would this new robots team be turned into a new Rescue Heroes movie, just like Mission Select was? No, it wouldn't. But incidentally, when the robots team did come to stores, here's a recreation of what the price tag on the store shelf in many stores looked like. The tag called the figures Robots Movie Figures. They were even called this on the internet. Nevertheless, the robots team was one of the coolest teams ever designed. Each team member had a robot companion, and when you press the buttons, they would go back and forth with the human, talking about the emergency, and the robot making electronic noises. Each human also had one hand that wasn't just a regular hand we were used to. It was formed in a special shape. For instance, Billy pointing his finger. On the team were new robot Ember and Billy Blazes pointing his finger. Old robot Rivet and Jack Hammer with a slightly open hand. New robot Eject and Aerial Flyer with stretched out and slightly curled fingers. New robot 10-4 and Jake Justice with open hand. New robot Tectonic and Rocky Canyon with open hand and slightly curled fingers. And new robot Liftoff with new human astronaut CD Moon with outstretched and slightly curled fingers, the first human to be made into a voice tech edition without being on the TV show first. Later, miniature versions of Robots team members Billy Blazes, Jake Justice, and Jack Hammer were made. But the Robots team had two divisions. The one we just saw was called Talking. The other division was called Walking. These figures were akin to the Power Max team, and each member came with a robot that was motorized and moved. There was Billy Blazes, a new robot Fire Stomper who did flips to stomp out fires. Jack Hammer, and new robot Cement, who rolled and moved his front digger. Matt Medic, a new robot Responder, who rolled around and spun his head. And Gil Gripper, a new robot Goggles, who made swimming motions. Here is the robot's off-road cruiser. That orange thing in the front looks like a bumper, right? Well, pull it out, and it's actually a tall new robot, appropriately named Bumperbot. Then there was the fourth command center. On the outside, it's the massive hyperjet seen so often in the TV show and movie. On the inside, it's a command center with a flip-up, light-up screen and Warren Waters for the voice tech figures to talk to. The figures could also talk with another new robot that came with the jet. He is a stationary robot that is sort of like the brains, and he's the first robot to talk. His name is Keytron. Take off the front piece of the hyperjet, and it transforms into yet another new robot, the large and again appropriately named Hyperbot. Some of the Hyperjet HQs came with another limited edition bonus figure, a new burgundy edition of CD Moon. Then, a new collector's series came out with Billy Blazes, Bill Barker, Cliffhanger, Jack Hammer, and new jungle searching hero, Dewey Seam. The quality of the toy's packaging was increased, with thicker, smoother, glossier inserts, and tons of new products were underway. But you could slightly tell that things were changing. After all, it was obvious now that the TV show probably wasn't coming back, and neither was a new movie. Also, the creative team who designed the figures seemed to be forced to use more and more uncommon names, such as Marshall, Thurston, and even Dewey. But the franchise wasn't going down just yet. There was still one more top quality year to go.